Hello and welcome to my video. My name is Ahmed Addik. Today we have a pretty cool experiment concerning the frictional behavior of different materials. So one way to approach this is by bringing an inclined plane. In my case I used a piece of wood that I found here in the ABFL, and I'm gonna put different materials on top of it. And then I'm gonna use a control item that I'm gonna put on top, and then vary the angle of inclination and capture at what angle it will start sliding. So thank you for watching, and let's begin.
Okay, let's see what happens when we put a wheelchair. Okay, maybe this wasn't a good idea, so let's move on to the real experiment. Okay, first of all, we're gonna do a control experiment where we put a plastic container containing 200 grams of sugar, and we're gonna put it directly into the wood and slide it to see which angle it's gonna begin to slide. And then we're gonna use the same container of plastic, but this time put it on paper and see the difference. This time on aluminum foil. A cotton fabric. A jeans fabric. And finally, some tape. But before we finish the experiment, there's an assumption that we need to prove in order to use Newton's law and calculate the coefficient of friction using the Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law states that the force of friction is equal to the normal force multiplied by the coefficient of friction. There's two ways to prove this assumption. First, we need to prove that the force of friction is dependent on the mass applied. So for example, if we apply 200 grams, the force of friction will be less than if we applied 400 grams. Second, we have to prove that the force of friction does not depend on the area of contact and depends only on the mass. And of course, the coefficient of friction between the two materials. So, as I said, to prove the assumption, I'm gonna use these two containers of aluminum foil that I made, and I'm gonna fill each one 200 grams of sugar. So here we see that we have the same angle of inclination for all four experiments.
Physics works, and I'm still alive.